All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Jump on in, give it a share. The Urban Conservative Podcast starts right around now.
Hey, buddy, do you like NASCAR? Do you like a Tribe Called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative Podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative.
Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative.
You're a little over Cardi B, and you're repulsed by the thought of Hogmaw. Check out the Urban Conservative. You ready? If you think the earth is flat and always on that weird side of YouTube, check out the Urban Conservative. They'll set you straight.
If you're in a chasing dopey and you love solid fish and festival, check out the Urban Conservative.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It is time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, rocking with you all on a Monday night. Big shouts out to everybody that made it happen this past weekend. If you live in Charlotte, around this area, we had an amazing 12th Congressional District event. Shouts out to Jesse Payton, man. If y'all don't know who Jesse Payton is, you got to go check out this conservative comedian, Jesse Payton. Absolutely hysterical guy, man. He came out, showed out for our 12th Congressional District All-American Comedy Show. So again, shouts out to Jesse Payton. Unapologetic is his brand. Go look him up, JESSEPEYTON. Go look up Jesse Payton. Shouts out to him. We may have my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Raheem Architect Soto, jumping in here momentarily. But folks, I got to tell you, it has been a crazy last few days. We're going to talk a little bit today about the manifesto of the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter. We're going to talk about the disgusting comedy from so-called comedy, let's just call it, from Jimmy Kimmel. But we're also going to talk about something very important, which happens here in the great state of North Carolina, which is very interesting. And that has to do with these two individuals you see on your screen. Young lady you see on your left is State Representative Carla Cunningham. Gentleman you see on your right is State Senator Nassif Majid. Now, these folks are showing you exactly what happens when the Democrat Party goes so far left that they leave their own people in the dust. These are two Democrat state lawmakers, Carla Cunningham and Nassif Majid, basically just said deuces to the Democrat Party. Now, they did lose their primaries in March, but here's the thing. The candidates they lost to are even further to the left. Now, that becomes problematic if you know anything about how state government works, because you do not go to state government and govern by grenade, is the bottom line. That's not the way that working in government is supposed to work. You understand what I mean? So shouts out, Ra, you there? I thought we had Raheem here for a split second. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But the point being is that you do not govern by grenade when it comes to being involved in state government. And when you look at what Carla Cunningham was known for doing, she was known for bringing results back to her district. Okay, folks? When I say results, she was able to bring back amazing results. And folks, it looks like we do have my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Raheem Architect Soto in the building. Bro, it's good.
Jamaican
So,
music
yeah.
noise.
Yeah, so we're talking about these North Carolina reps that bounced out, said deuces, hasta la vista, wouldn't want to be chuck the deuces to the Democrat Party. Now, what I was talking about here, folks, is that when you're in state government, all right, when you're in state government, you cannot govern by grenade, especially if you are in the minority party, which Carla Cunningham and Nassif Majid, the individuals here on your screen, are in the Democrat Party. Now, I want you to understand something here about these two individuals. They, upon certain occasions, voted with Republicans on common sense measures, okay? Common things like, I don't know, maybe we don't want biological males playing in female sport, okay? Maybe these folks, basically said, y'all are just going too far left for me. Y'all are too wild for me, okay? They didn't go along with the defund the police. They didn't go along with the open borders. They didn't go along with gender affirming care for children, because that is where the mainstream platform of the Democratic Party has gone. Now, I want to bring y'all attention to something real quick as we talk about this, because these two folks helped override certain bills. And one of the things that I think is important for y'all to see is this is Carla Cunningham on the floor of the North Carolina House of Representatives. And this bill, which was going to require sheriffs to cooperate with ICE, had been vetoed by the governor. Okay? This is her speech on the floor, basically calling it out, voting the right way for her constituents. Y'all take a listen to this.
Expects me to line up behind another group of people to raise awareness about their plight, I unapologetically say no. I am ADOS, American descendants of slaves. I am a Black American, and I am an American. I'm going to present my case in support of House Bill 318.
Now, let me stop right there, because I'm going to go HB 318, North Carolina. Okay, just House Bill 318, known as the Criminal Illegal Alien Enforcement Act, was ratified in July 2025 and takes effect on October 1st, 2025. The law required local sheriffs and law enforcement to cooperate with immigration and customs enforcement for inmates suspected of being in the country illegally. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, anybody with common sense is going to ask yourself, is why would a governor veto that? Great question. But let's finish listening to Representative Cunningham.
As it is time for my unapologetic truth to be shared with all of you. First, as a people, we need to recognize that it's not just the numbers that matter, but also where the immigrants come from and the culture they bring with them to another country.
All right, now let's just be real. And bro, I don't know if you can't. It's not racist to point out that some people are bringing with them a culture that doesn't align with what we stand for here in the United States. It's not racist to call that out. And basically, she goes on to explain that why would people who have been a part of the very fabric of this culture, of this American experiment, why would we or they, or, if you consider yourself ADOS, or what's the other one, foundational Black American or whatever, why would you want to put immigrants, especially people who have come to this country illegally, in front of you? Which I thought was a fair question. I don't know. That's to me, at least, a fair question. So that was one of the reasons why, is because she stood on the House floor, and maybe I'll say against her party. The same thing with Nassif Majid, where they had to vote their conscience, where they had to vote for what was right. This is what happens when you fuck the Democrat Party. They primary you. And I got to tell you, Rodney Sadler, who defeated Carla Cunningham in the primary, and the lady that, Valeria Levy, that defeated Nassif Majid in his primary, are going to get nothing for their districts. They are going to be straight Democrat Party line votes every time without fail. Now, I happen to be at an event where these two were at, and I got to tell you, the way Rodney Sadler treated Representative Cunningham was disrespectful. I think anybody that was at that event could plainly see that he's out of his depth, and he's going to go up to Raleigh and basically his district, who had a strong representative who fought for school lunch, debt reduction, or debt forgiveness, and did so many other things, brought millions of dollars back to her district. Same thing with Senator Majid, was able to fight for things, even being in the minority, which is an amazing feat to accomplish when you're in a minority, is to go and work with the majority to get things done, brought back for your district. But now you have, yep.
Hold on, because this is localized to North Carolina in these people, right? But the symptoms and the exact scenario is happening everywhere, right? And there should be more people leaving this party. Now, here in New York, for example, as we watch New York City literally become a socialist wet dream, right? A communism wet dream scenario here. You have to ask yourself a question, adults, and it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter, right? But do you want to be able to afford to live where you live? I mean, it's like some very fundamental realities and policy positions that you should take as someone who wants the right thing for your community. Does that make sense, Ali?
Makes perfect sense. Makes
Okay.
perfect sense.
So
And to that point, yeah, it's not just North Carolina, but I'm using this to highlight the fact that there are, and on our side of the aisle, maybe bro, you'll disagree with this. We have to do a better job of recognizing, because I noticed these folks didn't go from Democrat to Republican. They went from Democrat to unaffiliated.
Well, and we tell people this all the time, especially when we are dealing with people who are freshly getting involved in the political space, that sometimes you go into neutral, right? You don't have to join one party or the other. And that's perfectly fine, but there's a reason for that. So I think on our side, we have to ask ourselves, what's happening at the local political level that has people abstaining from joining the party? But then also accept that it makes sense that they become unaffiliated, because there's obviously positions locally. There's so much I'll call it clickism, right? You've been through so much, and I'll say this with no problem, Ali, because you've never said it. We've dealt with so much internal political partisan issues that we've not aired out, that it makes sense to me why some people like, nah, I'm good on that. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a reason for that. But we tell people all the time when they're getting involved in politics freshly that sometimes you go into neutral, go unaffiliated until you learn more about the parties. Especially if you're leaving one party that you clearly, when it comes, when you found out about it, it didn't line up with your values. Like an example with this sister, like it didn't line up with her values. So when you find that out, do you immediately just go, it's like getting divorced. Do you immediately just turn around and go get remarried, or do you take a breath?
Take a breath. Ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know if I'm jumping in another one right now. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are kicking it on the Urban Conservative Podcast. We are going to take a very, very quick commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about this White House Correspondents' Dinner Manifesto that got released. We're also going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel's disgusting response to the whole thing. We will be right back on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Y'all don't move.
Are you tired of thinking for yourself? Sick of facts getting in the way of your feelings? Introducing Democratinol, the revolutionary pill that turns you into a full-blown, blissfully ignorant liberal. Bob used to think for himself, believe in hard work and personal responsibility, but then he tried Democratinol. Now he thinks the government should pay for everyone's unicorn rides. Climate change? It's real because feelings. And taxes? The more the merrier, as long as it's not his money. Dimcratinol works fast. Side effects may include sudden urges to virtue signal on social media, believing everything on CNN is gospel, forgetting how math works, especially budgets, compulsory recycling of other people's ideas, and in rare cases, voting for policies that sound nice but bankrupt the country. Ask your doctor if Dimcratinol is right for you, or don't. Who needs doctors when you have vibes? Not approved by the FDA because facts are oppressive. Available at your local echo chamber.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are back on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Yours truly, Abdul Ali, rocking with you here with my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Raheem Architect Soto. All right, so by now, everybody is very aware of what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Interestingly enough, there has been a manifesto release, which we're going to take a look at real quick. Now, because we are streaming on YouTube, I may change a word or two here so we don't get the striggity strikes. But I got to tell you, in relation to this, people wonder why this keeps happening. And President Trump pointed out something, bro. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but this only happens to people of consequence, the people that are actually in that sphere, that level of operation. But this is also the result of when you see things like what Jimmy Kimmel is doing, when you see things like certain late night shows and these comedians and people on the left, the talking heads in the media, constantly spouting out nothing but absolute hatred for Trump, right? And interestingly, first time in his second term, Trump showed up. Melania's looking like $1 million as always. It's from what I heard from people that were there, bro, it was a kind of an awkward, we all hate Trump and everything that he stands for, but we kind of like the idea of free shrimp cocktail. You know what I'm saying, bro? It was kind of like that vibe in the building. And then this 31-year-old teacher from California named Cole Allen was ready to basically turn it into his own action movie, apparently. The dude had already sent his family the full manifesto in which he called himself the friendly federal assassin. Okay? He called himself the friendly federal assassin. Okay? So let's take a look at this real quick. I just think it's important for us to kind of skim through this. First of all, I may have gotten a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by
Hold up. We're not reading this. We're not reading this.
We're not going to read it?
No, we're not reading this. You know why we're not reading this? Because number one, we're not reading this, right? Let's set this. Let's do it like this, Ali, because it'll take 10 minutes to read it, and I want to be clear about something. And I'm advocating for this on the show, and when I talk to people, there needs to be some type of way, because I understand we have our First Amendment rights, and you're free to say whatever you want to say, right? The media needs to be held responsible for creating these absolutely dangerous narratives. They have programmed a portion of our population, and it's sad because for me, living here on the East End of Suffolk County and looking at the age of our population, and to see these elderly people outside, right? And they're ready to argue, they're ready to yell, they're ready to scream, and they really believe, Ali. They really, really believe that Trump is a Nazi and that ICE is the Gestapo. They really, really believe this. And I drive by. Now, this is the irony of this. They're outside protesting in the Hamptons in front of Macy's. You're doing a No Kings rally or an anti-ICE rally, right? And the reality of it is that there's no immigrants at your there's no immigrants at your rally.
Not one.
So I say that to say that the media needs to be held responsible. CNN, CNBC. I mean, the level of what I feel, and maybe it doesn't meet the legal threshold for, what's that charge that they give you? Defamation. Maybe it doesn't meet the legal threshold for defamation, but I got to imagine that the media should, that they're lying to people. Like they're saying things that are just untrue.
That's a fact.
I say that to say that we, reading this, look, go ahead, highlight the parts, but You can't be shocked when you've radicalized people to this point. You can't be.
You can't. And look, for anybody saying, I think that the tinfoil hat, excuse me for saying it this way, the tinfoil hat batshits that are talking about this was something staged by Trump to deflect from what's happening in Iran and to deflect from the Epstein files. You are absolutely insane.
But listen, just think about the level, it takes a genetically, I don't even know if genetically is the right word. It takes an incredibly dense person, right? You have to have a supernatural level of moronic baked into your code to think that.
Yep. So check this out. There's a couple of points I wanted to highlight here. One, he was absolutely going after, and I don't know why he did not include Cash Patel in this. He said, I'm going after administration officials. They are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Who is the highest ranking administration official in that room, bro?
Keep going. Keep going.
Secret Service are only targets if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally, aka I hope they're wearing body armor. So he's saying he wasn't going after hotel security, Capitol Police, National Guard, hotel employees, or guests. Okay. He goes on this is where you know something is off his rocker. Objection 1, as a Christian, you should turn the other cheek. Turning the other cheek is for when you yourself are oppressed. I'm not the person raped in detention camp. I'm not the fisherman. So in his mind, what you see what my brother was saying about the narratives that the media is talking about. Detention camps, a fisherman executed without trial.
All right, hold on. This is another problem though, Ali. This again, you lose a lot of people here, and I'll probably get a little heat for saying this, right? But this is the problem when you have so many variations of the religion. Because in his sect, in his crew, he's right.
No, he don't even got a sector crew. He doesn't even say which part he's with.
That's the problem. This is the problem. This is why, and this is a personal issue for me, right? Because some of these folks are so ideological in their belief system that we have to abandon rationality. And this is where we end up, where this person believes that what they're doing is the right thing. And the justification in front of you, y'all see on the screen, no rational human being, like, this is not rational.
You see that? I personally, when I read through this, I was like, this is clearly someone who has been radicalized. Clearly. Okay? No security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event.
Yeah, I mean, what excuse can you make for this? You can't even make an excuse for this. And this is solely I really lay this at the feet of the media. I really do. I mean, you it's also you individual people's fault. So let's start there, right? Because you have to be susceptible to believe any of this stuff. And so I'll say this, and again, whether this catches me heat from the right, that's fine. I don't agree with everything President Trump does. I don't like most Republicans, Ali, and correct me if I'm wrong. Most Republicans who aren't over party, like if your options are in a local election, right, between a bad Republican and a good Democrat, who are you going to support?
I don't know. I might go with that bad Republican. I don't know, but I'll be honest with you. Hey.
Yeah, all right. Well, for me, I'm gonna put it to you like this. If I'll change it this way. I'll say you have a Democrat elected official who's doing a good job. Do you have a problem saying that person is doing a good job when they're doing a good job?
Absolutely not. No problem at all.
See how easy that was? That was
matter of fact. Case in point, when Representative Carla Cunningham was a Democrat and she helped override the veto, I sent her a personal note thanking her for doing it.
Okay, but the other side can't do that. That was my entire point in saying that. So yeah, maybe you do take the bad Republican, depending on the other stuff going on around you. But the reality of it is our side is willing to go. Man, that Democrat did a good job there. That was a good thing he did for the
Hey, look at
community.
that. Look how much praise John Fetterman gets from the right.
I mean, so the point is when you have one side whose entire ideology and it seems to me their spiritual nature is just disagreeableness and hatred, like this Trump derangement thing is much bigger than Trump at this point. It's become its own thing.
Well, I'm not going to play it, but you
No,
see
don't.
Jimmy Kimmel on the
Is there a
screen.
transcript? Is there a transcript?
It and basically,
Well, you can
this
play to
whole
like 10-second clips of it.
yeah, this is basically
Fair
2
use.
days
Fair use.
before this went down. Jimmy did a whole parody correspondence dinner bit, and what does he call Melania Trump? An expectant widow. That's to me borderline crossing the line.
Yeah, but isn't
Okay,
his wife an expectant widow as well? Then aren't all wives expectant widows? Well, you're gonna live forever, Jimmy? I don't understand the joke. It's really not funny in light of this being political. That's not even like good writing.
nah,
Here's my issue with this. Right, Jimmy Kimmel's never been funny. By
ever.
what standard is he funny? By like what standard? Like who can Jimmy Kimmel entertain other than the late night audience who really gets an applause button put, an applause light above their head? You've never been like, I gotta go see Jimmy Kimmel live doing stand up. You've never said that. I don't even remember a Jimmy Kimmel joke.
Yeah, I can't either. Now that you think about it,
So
I don't know.
think about how far gone, because this is really a culture issue where these celebrities and the people that we see on late night television or television period, and by television at this point we're going to expand to not only network television but your social media influencers, etc. We seem to think that these people, and it seems that these people have some type of authoritative position or that they're knowledgeable. So it's like watching The View. To me, I tried to watch The View and I felt instantly stupid. Like instantly, like as soon as they started talking, I felt like IQ points were being zapped away from me like body heat. That's what I
Yep.
thought.
Yeah. And then you think about this, right? This is why you see so many people on the left opposing that next Star Tegna merger. This is why they don't want, people on the right to have more control of the media. Exactly why. And you see what Trump's response here, who is, Jimmy Kimmel, who is in no way funny, as attested to by his terrible television ratings. This whole thing is we've gone too far. I just think the left has gone entirely too far in radicalizing people. I think it's safe to disagree. I think we should have difficult and tough conversations. I think we should learn where and how we disagree as American people. But at the end of the day, we should all want success for our country. I look, when Biden was the president, I didn't like it, but I didn't want him to fail. When Obama was the president, I didn't like it, but I didn't want him to fail, because if the president fails, the country fails. And what we're seeing here is people that want the president to fail, people that want the country to fail.
Well, Ali, I'm gonna throw something at you. The problem with me looking at this, I go like this. All right. Do these folks actually care what's going to happen 5, 10, well, let's not say 10, 15, 20 years, right? I don't vote for people who aren't able to answer that question, especially at the local level, right? Because what happens
Mm-hmm.
is you have communities here where the population is a certain age at the high end and young people are leaving, which means what? Right? So play fast forward these community dynamics. If you live in a community where the population of working people, if the highest group of people is your elderly community and you have a high tax rate and you have all of these different, high taxes where you live. Fast forward 35, 40 years and see if your community still exists. See if your community still exists. And the reason I throw that out there is because TDS, this Trump derangement syndrome, has made its way, obviously, into local elections. The lawmakers here, where I'm at, are suggesting policies, right? Are suggesting policies that have long. I mean, it's 2026. You can ask Google anything. You can take what a politician tells you at a local level, put it in Google, and Google, hey, is this a good idea? Well, how will this play out in 20 years? So you don't even need to, at this point, be a student anymore.
Right.
All you need to know is how to Google at this point, or how to use AI, or how to ask these questions. What's the long-term play out of this? And you'll see.
Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, that is part of the reason why, as my brother mentioned, it shouldn't take you that much to become educated, to become an informed voter. That is why we are super proud to launch Turn Out USA. Our mission is to turn out, turn up so that America wins. We are going to be providing civic education in North Carolina, New York, and other states with our Know Before You Vote app, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be dropping soon. For more information, to get on the wait list, to find out about how you can support what we're doing at Turnout USA, visit www.turnoutusa.info. That is www.turnoutusa.info. It's time for us to become the informed electorate that the founders of this nation wanted to have. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, you have been checking out another episode of the Urban Conservative Podcast. Let us know what you think. Jump in the comment section. Is that a good move for Nassif Majid and Carly Cunningham to go unaffiliated? Jimmy Kimmel actually funny? What do you think? Jump in the comments. Let us know. We'll see you next time we go live right here on the Urban Conservative. Peace and love, y'all.
Are you tired of thinking for yourself? Sick of facts getting in the way of your feelings? Introducing Democratinol, the revolutionary pill that turns you into a full-blown, blissfully ignorant liberal. Bob used to think for himself, believe in hard work and personal responsibility, but then he tried Democratinol. Now he thinks the government should pay for everyone's unicorn rides. Climate change? It's real because feelings. And taxes? The more the merrier, as long as it's not his money. Democratinol works fast. Side effects may include sudden urges to virtue signal on social media, believing everything on CNN is gospel, forgetting how math works, especially budgets, compulsory recycling of other people's ideas, and in rare case, voting for policies that sound nice but bankrupt the country. Ask your doctor if Democratinol is right for you, or don't. Who needs doctors when you have vibes? Not approved by the FDA because facts are oppressive. Available at your local echo chain.